Welcome, 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 welcome. I want to thank you all for joining today. This is my second live show today. I have the third one coming as well. And on this one, I want to look at UK home ownership. And I have a guest as well, just like the first session we had. By the way, how many of you were at the first session I did today? If you were there live earlier, type I was there. If you were not there, type I wasn't there. Let's know those of you who miss it. If you miss it, then you have to go watch it. It was fantastic, and there's a lot to learn about opportunities and stuff. Okay, a lot to learn. This session, we're going to look at home ownership for healthcare and skilled workers on visa. And my guest will be breaking down home ownership for you guys. And I promise you it's going to be a fantastic session. Again, you want to invite people, share this link with as many people as you know, and invite them. Of course, it's key that you tell us your name and where you're joining us from. Your name and where you're joining us from. Like I said, those of you who are not there, go, of course, and watch, and let's have a great time. So my guest is coming up now, and let's have a great conversation together. Austin from Manchester, welcome. Dari from Lagos, Nigeria, welcome. Who else is here? Okay. Who else is here? Oluwasegun from London. Oluwasegun, I hope you've registered for Saturday and Sunday training. Hope you've registered. Kingsley from Manchester. I'm seeing a lot of Manchester people here. Mr. Deji, if you are here, you need to accept. I've sent you invitation. Okay. Accept so that you can join. It says you're not joining. Mike from Sheffield. Welcome, Mike from Sheffield. Shake from Nigeria. Where in Nigeria? Opeyemi from Leeds. Deji says you are not joining. So what I think you need to do, delete your Instagram and re-download it and then send me a request to join and I can pull you up. Okay? So I can see a lot of you in the UK joining us. Who else is here? Tell us your name and where you're joining from. Your name and where you're joining from. Your name and where you're joining from. So we want to look at home ownership. First of all, let me ask this question. How many of you here are based in the UK? And then if you're based in the UK, how many of you owned your own house? For those of you based here. David from Lincoln. Where's Lincoln? Is it Lincoln in the UK or in the US? Ngozi from Maryland, USA, I believe, not Maryland, Nigeria. So you need to specify, is it Maryland in Nigeria or Maryland in US? Justina from Abuja. Welcome, Justina. Oye from where? Oye, you put your flag. You did not indicate which country. I mean, I'm not sure I know the country. Francis from Lagos. Welcome. Okay, so Lincoln in the UK. So welcome. I can see we have a lot of guys from the UK now. How many of you? Ngozi from MD USA. Welcome. Oye from Wales. Oye, you just put your flag, assuming everybody understands the flag. Felix from Coventry. Thank you all of you for joining. Please invite more people to join. We're going to have a fantastic conversation today, I can assure you. It's going to be a great, great time. Sean from Kent, UK. Welcome. Pastor Sean, I believe. Welcome, welcome. Who else is here? Amara from Lagos, Ope from Lagos. Who else do we have? We can have more people joining now. Okay. More. Okay, Juliana from Manchester. Yeah, so for those of you joining and based in the UK, how many of you currently own your home. If you own, type I own. If you don't, type I don't. And by the way, there's nothing to if you don't, you don't. So I think, because I mean, sometimes people from my part of the world take issues quite personal, you know. So you need to delete your Instagram and reinstall it. Maybe you're using the old version. So delete it and reinstall it, and make sure you are following me as well, and then we'll try it again. Yeah, I am. Okay, so delete it and reinstall it. Okay. I'm waiting. How many of you own your house here in the UK? If you do, type I own my house. If you don't, type I don't. Now, one of the key conversations I've had, I've realized that a lot of us as immigrants, when we come to this part of the world, we are forced to bury our dreams. True or false? If you agree, type I agree. If you don't agree, type I don't agree. Right? The system, the people will meet, they have a way of convincing us that we need to bury our dreams. They have a way of saying, you're in the UK now. This is not Nigeria. Be realistic. You need to watch dead body. You need to work with older people, carry their, things that you are not proud of. Like, my last guest was sharing the same thing, how he was to buy a property for his client, and the person was a big oil guy in Nigeria that had come here to be a tenant and really struggling. Many times it's just the conditioning. You are conditioned to say, when you come here, you have to do ridiculous odd jobs. Meanwhile, there are a lot of great opportunities here that you don't even need to say, I'm looking for a degree. We just shared that in the last class, where you can be making between £5,000 to even £20,000 from just, being an auction broker, from being a deal sourcer, right? And yet people not taking advantage of it. You can, begin to make passive income. I met a gentleman, he should be in my class on Saturday. He's a photographer. A lot of people don't know you make more money from photography here than some jobs you guys are doing, right? But he's a photographer, but he did something very smart. He came in, he started rent to rent. And that's why training is what you need. He started rent to rent, and you will not believe it. From the rent to rent, he makes between £5,000 to £3,000 every month, because the rent to rent he did has 6 rooms, right? And so, and yet he's also making money from his photography business. I'm very stable and just started this business as well. I think I'll be sharing more about it, where he makes fragrance and candle, candle with scents here in the UK. Practically entrepreneurship, instead of looking for ridiculous jobs on how to watch dead body. Well, my guest is here. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing? I
Yeah,
hope you're doing
very good.
great.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
beautiful.
doing good. Yeah.
Let's start by knowing you. Your name, what you do, and for my audience to get to know you better.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Dejunan. I'm based in the UK, and I'm mortgage planning and mortgage advice. Also do a lot within property. So I do quite a lot around property negotiation and sales. So, but pretty much it's looking at financing for people that actually want to get a residential property, or for investors that want to build a property portfolio, and there are different strategies that we can apply to that. So yeah, that's the short time. So thank you for the opportunity to be here, and I'm hoping to get a lot of questions and get a lot of engagement from this.
Beautiful. So let's get into it. So you basically help people with financing when they want to buy their own property. Now, do you focus on just residential property, or you also do commercial? And commercial in this sense, they're trying to get 2-3 homes to rent out and get, passive income.
Yeah, so the way we break it down in the UK, so residential is your standard, you're living in a property. Your buy to let, which is you're buying to let out to someone else, is your standard flat houses. Your commercial is more of commercial unit. So
Yes.
either you're looking for residential, buy to let, or for commercial and some other industrial units. I do financing around that. So I do basic financing and I do specialist packaging as well. A lot of my clients are more specialist lenders in terms of maybe they are looking at doing a project for a buy-to-let investment, or they are converting a office into flat or something, but it's in between.
Okay, so let's assume I have a deal, and because today's conversation is to focus on people who are into healthcare, care and visas holders. We have a lot of immigrants. We have a lot of people from Ghana, Cameroon, Nigeria, Kenya coming to the UK, different parts of Africa.
Yeah.
And they are being told that they cannot even own a house, and that they need to first, rent for a couple of months and build their credit, and and then later can consider owning one. Is that true?
No, exactly. So just giving a bit of example. So I've got some clients that maybe coming around. So I want to address different pocket size. So I've got some clients that have come into the UK, and within 3 months to 6 months, they're able to buy their property because they have up to 25% deposit. So that it's very possible. And but recently, one of the reasons why I'm wanting to share this on this IG is that recently there are new products that allow people that have just been in the UK for about a year or a year plus, that gives them the opportunity to be able to buy property. What a lot of people struggle with most times is the deposit. So previously, if you've not stayed in the UK for maybe 2 years, 3 years, you have to think about 25% deposit, which is similar to you buying a buy-to-let. But with recent changes in some of the lenders now, you can do up to 95% loan to value, which means you only need 5% deposit to be able to qualify for some of these things. And the good thing
even
for
though
people,
even though you're on visa.
yes. So the good thing for people that are on visa is there is a special product that focuses on skilled workers and people with certificates of sponsorship. So that's really a good thing. And I mean, for me being a Nigerian, I know there are a lot of people that have come into the UK for that reason. And I thought this is a massive opportunity for people to be aware of. They don't need to wait for 3 years, 5 years. If they get a deposit going, then they should be able to qualify for this. There might be other factors I will touch on later, but yeah, the deposit aspect, 5%.
This is for first-time home buyers, and
Yes.
it's majorly for their residential. It's not for buy-to-let.
No, so not for buy-to-let. And for people that are thinking of buy-to-let, in the UK, standard buy-to-let is 25% deposit, which again, I address different pocket size. So for people that are in that position that can afford 25%, then there is plenty of options to them. You don't have to be a homeowner before you can own a buy-to-let, because that's some misconception people have. I have to buy my own property first before I go to buy-to-let. So you don't have to. You just need to find the right lender for you.
Okay, beautiful. So let's assume, I'm a skilled worker and I've been here for a year, and I want my to buy my own house. And I can now drop, just 5%. I'll get 95%, funding. What are the things that I need to have to qualify for this, aside that I've been here for a year?
Okay. Two factors in terms of mortgage generally, and this is not specific to either you're skilled worker or not. Your credit rating and your credit report is an important factor. So a lot of challenged people have, especially people that have just migrated in, is because they've not been in the country long enough. They don't have a good track record in terms of address history. But there are simple ways for people to be building that. So it's more being intentional than what most people do. So a lot of people are not aware of the basic steps they need to start doing from the time they get into the UK. The UK is a credit system, unlike where most people are coming from. So you need to understand that and see how that works for you. Again, simple things as getting credit card. Even if it's a £50 credit card, £100 credit card, it will start building your credit reports. It will start building your credit profile. That is one of the critical parts, which you can start from an early time. And there are a lot of things I've shared on other videos that could give you some. I think I've gone through like 14 steps of what you could do. But again, that's one factor. The other important factor is your affordability. Mortgage is like I think I like what Sam Fungo said in the earlier session. Mortgage is like a marriage. It's a long-term relationship, 25 years. So if a lender is giving you money for 25 years, they want to know that you can continue paying that mortgage for that long. So you could change products in between and stuff, but they want to assess the fact that it is affordable to you. So the key aspect of getting a mortgage is the affordability. And your affordability is usually based on what income you are getting in. So I say for easy calculation, your income times 4.5 will give you the average loan amount you can get from a lender. And that's where the challenge is for most people. I can talk more about that later, but those are the two factors to really, maybe three. The deposit, I've talked about it. There are different pockets that you can do. You can get up to 95%. The affordability, which is a factor of your income times 4.5, and then your credit report, your credit rating. Those are three things anybody that's interested in getting finance, either for your residential, either for your buy-to-let, or even for commercial, because they want to see, who am I giving credit to? Are they credit worthy? Because that is a key part for any lender.
Fantastic. By the way, guys, are you getting value? Please let him know. If you're getting value, just type, I'm getting value, I'm learning something. And how many of you here who are based in the UK are actually interested in getting your own house? I mean, or you're interested in this particular program that he's talking about? Just indicate. You can type, I'm interested, I'm interested. If this is like something that interests you and you think the conversation is tinting towards something that you need at the moment. So if it's something you need, you can indicate and say, I need this. This is something I want. This is something I need. I mean, owning a house is very important, and I've seen so many people move here. Japa syndrome is crazy, right? I mean, nowadays people in Nigeria, you just say Jack Robinson. I'm in UK. I'll be here for 1 year. and sometimes people are really, really struggling. And that's why I'm happy to bring conversations like this. The training we're doing on Saturday is also to address things like that, because people are here, they are literally lost, right? What do I do? How do I do it? Meanwhile, opportunities are endless. The mistake is many of us don't want to go for trainings, we don't want to pay for trainings, and we're in a part of the world where you have to get value for value. You have to bring something to the table, right? Don't expect anybody to just be. It's not in Africa. We run almost like a socialist system. My Igbon send me money, uncle send me money, brother send me money, and people will do things for free. But you're in a system where even to get valuable information, it's either you're a customer to that individual or you pay that individual for him or her to be willing to exchange those quality information to you. So it's very important. We're doing a training this Saturday and Sunday, and it's called the Real Estate Investment Masterclass. The goal is to be able to open you up to how to build wealth in the real estate sector. One, as an investor. Two, as an individual who just want to build a career in that industry. And you know, the beautiful thing, unlike in the US, the UK real estate sector is not regulated, right? Just like in Nigeria. And that's a big advantage. In the US, you have to get a license. You can't just wake up and say, I'm selling houses. In the UK, you don't need a license to sell a house. You don't need a license to start a career as a deal sourcer. You don't need a license to be a mortgage broker, to be what's it called, auction broker. You don't need a license. You just need training from people already in that sector, and you will now be in a position to earn way better, decent income than the one people are forcing themselves, looking for hair care job, looking for how to wash dead bodies and pack, and take care of people that. I remember a story I heard of a lady. She came here for a master's, and she had to work in all these old people home. And true story, she literally started dreaming about dying because the old woman she was working with was always seeing dead people. She was like, can't you see Jill, my late husband? Do you see Jill? Jill, how are you, Jill? So after like 2 weeks of dealing with that one, she has started seeing dead. I'm sure I can't do the job no more. Meanwhile, you can literally start a business. You can start in the real estate sector, and you'll be shocked. In a few years, you have built massive wealth for yourself. I want to speak briefly to that before we continue. How building a career in the real estate sector for those in the UK. I mean, you've been in the UK for, probably 20 years now. You can tell us about that. But why is it important for people to consider this sector for people who live here?
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Just before I address that question, just want to say, for people that might be interested in mortgage or doing anything, I've got something free on as a reason of on being on this platform. I've sent a link on the chat where you can come in and ask me questions later, because individual situations are very different. So I know people might not want to ask questions on this, but just for anybody that might be interested. So in terms of real estate, the fantastic thing about real estate for me is there's many facets of real estate. Although I do mortgage advice, which you need to be regulated for to be a mortgage advisor, but when you compare, okay, I've got MBA, I've got chartered accountant, but when you compare the work you need to do to become a mortgage advisor to other sectors or things, I always keep telling people, especially the young Black African, like the place where you want to think of that people don't think about is property. Just maybe find yourself working in a real estate firm. It might be 20K, 25K, but it doesn't matter. The relationship you get access to, the kind of conversation you're having, the kind of deals you're bringing together, in a short time, you would see massive leverage. Similar for mortgage broking, similar for insurance broking, similar for financial planning. There are a lot of short courses that people could consider when coming to this country. And I always say, when you're coming from this country, I mean, for me, I think you asked a question. I've been here for 17 years and I've been aware of a lot of things. So I've worked in IT before, been an IT consultant to big 500 companies in the UK. But again, it's not the MBA or it's not being a chartered accountant that got me in there. It's more of looking at the gaps. Some of the gaps then was looking to be a software testing. business analysis. And these are things you could do in a weekend or in a month that gets you prepared. So I say to people, yes, you might come in as care and stuff. You might be restricted in terms of the kind of work you could do, but start training for other things so that at the time you don't have the restriction, you can then step into things and other things you can do it part-time as well. So there are a lot of things that we can do part-time. So it's thinking about, and I think one of the challenge for most Africans is the fact that we are not prepared to spend on learning or spend on mentoring. So you want to go about and feel like I, there's something I told somebody that just came in. I said the best for me, one of the best traits I have is being able to ask questions anywhere I go. It could be on the bus, it could be on the train. And I said, people coming in, make sure you're asking everybody you meet the question, what do you do? It might be funny, but they would answer you. What do you do? If it interests you, you feel, oh, how did you get into that? You have 20, 50 things you are aware of that people do. Then you start understanding the whole thing, because a lot of times you come into the UK, you're with your uncle or auntie or friends that are in one sector. That's all they know. But hardly do you meet people that have done so many things, that have been in so many rooms, been in so many settings. So my best advice for people coming in would be, don't limit yourself. Yeah, start with where you are. It's always an important thing. But don't limit yourself in terms of asking questions. Those questions will give you a gateway. I've met people on the train that I've asked questions and gotten me into some places I never imagined. So many chances like that, and people are willing to talk. Yeah, just instead of asking for how is the weather doing, ask, yeah, what do you do? Where are you going? Oh, I like the way you're dressed. Oh, what do you do? Simple questions. People would be glad to answer you, and you will get a lot of value from there.
Amazing, and I agree with you because, and I'm happy that we're having this conversation because a lot of the people I'm meeting in the UK have finished their, they've finished their masters, but hey, they're looking for a job, they're looking for a sponsor, and those conversations keeps going over and over. In some cases, it's just that they're not okay with what they currently do, in terms of the income that is generating. But like he just told you, there's so much more. And you can't just limit yourself. You can't just restrict yourself. You can't just put yourself to a cage. And please note, like he has said, if you came to the UK in company of friends who are nurses, you will be a nurse. If you are here in the UK, company of those who do healthcare, you will be one. If you came in company of those who do taxi, you will be one. So it's important to be willing, even if you were here through those relationships, to be willing to branch out, to be willing to ask questions, to be able to go out of that room, right, into a bigger room. And I want to say this before I continue my questions with Mr. Deji, because it's very important. When I started, expanding my business outside of Africa, when I enter any country and I talk about my dream, the first thing is mockery. Oh, he thinks it's Nigeria. Oh, he thinks it's a joke. Oh, he think, and it took me years to realize that I shouldn't even be angry with them. They don't hate me. They're just speaking based on who they are, right? Because if somebody has been in a country, right, for 10 years and he or she has limited herself to certain category of opportunity, right? And then somebody should come in 1 year and is telling you, I will do this, I will do this. It's natural to feel like, what's wrong with that person? We have been here and this is all we could achieve. But guess what? He or she only could achieve those things because he or she limited the information to those things, right? Decided to limit he or she to just info on those things. I give an example. The kind of resources we our UK US business is touching in 1 year. People who have been in the UK for 25 years have not touched it, even in terms of income, right? But it was a decision. It was a decision to say, I will go for knowledge with those who have it. I will pay, right? When I told somebody, I said, I've paid Grant Cardone, you can ask him, over $200,000 since I've met him 3 years ago. Paid the man. Okay? Paid him. So, but the quality of information I've gotten that allow us to be doing a project of 40 million here, buying property of $10 million here, $5 million here, were because of the quality of person. You can't be sitting with a man who controlled property asset running to over $5 billion, and you will not be having information that puts you in control of being able to do your own tens of millions of dollars as well. So please, we must be willing to pay for information, to go for meetings where we will be taught out if things that are outside of our circle, outside of where we are. I did a meet and greet yesterday, and a man who came, he said, even his friends, he was telling them, let's go for a meeting. Hey, what is he talking about? Yeah, all of them, what are they saying? I'm sure the guy is a politician. How did he make his money? Research it. He must be a politician. All this one, what will he tell you? Right? You must break outside of those kind of people who consciously or unconsciously box your mind. And it's very important if you're going to go far in this part of the world. But my next question will be, one of the things you said you want to share on Sunday is how people can invest as a business now in real estate here in terms of certain types of houses. Can you share briefly with us some of those things that you will be sharing on Sunday?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Stephen. So I think I've touched on that, depending on the level of where we are on this. So I've touched on residential, your standard house, your buy-to-let. Now, because of a lot of changes in the buy-to-let space, it's becoming less profitable. It's becoming difficult to even get financing on it because of the rental ratio. People have looked into service accommodation, which is another business on its own. Again, Dr. Akintayo, I've talked
The network breaking.
So as a landlord, you are expecting and you're praying that your tenant will continue paying you monthly. And after that, it might mean that there is some repairs to do, boiler, to fix things. And the money you've taken, if you take out your mortgage, you take out the repairs and the maintenance, and then you take out what the government will charge you as well as part of tax, most landlords are not making any profit. So there are people we call accidental landlord, and there are people that we call professional landlord. Professional landlord is doing things properly. Sam Fungo mentioned things about getting property in auction and doing all of that. Those are people that are thinking professionally. How can I make real money from property and stuff? But the opportunity that a lot of people are not aware of is this social housing element, where in social housing you get guaranteed rent from a big player, and most times it could be the council. So the council wants to house people that are homeless, wants to house people that are on asylum, asylum seekers. There's so many reasons they don't have the properties to give. And if you have properties and you partner with reputable social housing operators, you can get guaranteed rental from that. And guaranteed rental could be 5 years, could be 25 years. Some will give you a contract for 25 years and say, we have a breakout clause for 5 years or whatever you decide. But the important thing is you are guaranteed the rent because they are working with the government if I don't know the percentage, but there's shortage of housing in the UK. The government cannot fund the welfare that they run. So they need places for people to live. It could be domestic violence. They are trying to rehouse them. There's so many reasons. So it's a big market. But one of the things, unlike a landlord where you would have to take care of the maintenance and take care of the repairs and all of those, the contract includes the maintenance. So it's called a full repair and insured. It's a similar type of what you get if you are leasing your property on a commercial basis. So this is taking the step from buy-to-let to commercial level of investment, even if you are not dealing with proper business. But it's seen as a business because the operator is doing it as a business. They are getting contract from the government, and then they want people that want to invest and stuff. So there's many ways you can get into this. Maybe I'll share more on Sunday. But simple things that, you can get a mortgage for this. You can decide to buy cash. But what you're thinking about is, I'm getting guaranteed cash flow for the next 25 years. And if you know property investments, two types of incomes coming. Basic, it's your income, your cash flow. Times buy-to-let does not give you enough of. But the most important thing also is the capital up. In the UK, statistics shows that most properties would appreciate in value to double the price at least every 10 years. So what that means really to everyone is, if you buy a property for 100,000, in the next 10 years, that property is likely to be 200,000, plus or minus. It will be different for different location. And this is something, just to have this, this is the big misconception we don't understand in the Black community. We focus on work. Work is important. Again, like I said, affordability is, to get a mortgage, you need to have income for affordability. If you're buy-to-let, there are some mortgage you can get if you're not working, if it's for buy-to-let, but we can talk more about that. But affordability is important. So working is important, but let that not be your 100% mindset. You are using that as a leverage, that if I can get income and get into property, the big gain for me is the capital appreciation. For people that have houses in the UK, you realize that the amount your property is making over the long time, it's far more than the amount you're making from your income. Because when I do financial planning section, I always say, when you think about it, let's take average income of 25K. And if you're working for 40 years, that's about 1 million, right? Most people in their lifetime would go through £1 million as income, as a minimum. But when you think about it, what is left out of that 1 million, or out of whatever millions their income come through, it's very, very minimal. Especially in this time where cost of living, everything is gone up. Cost of living, mortgage rate, all of those things have gone up. So the amount you're making after you've taken your income and you've done your expenses, it's very minimal. So a lot of people don't have money they can save over a long time. But when you think about the appreciation of your property, if you buy a property in London area, not necessarily London area, in 40 years, without any doubt, that property would make you £1 million. It's simple calculation. And most times, if you've taken a 25-year mortgage, you are most likely to have finished paying your mortgage and you have that asset. So 40 years on one property in London area, it could be Kent, it could be all the greater London, your property is most likely to be at least close to 1 million net, because you don't have mortgage again after 5 years. So that is one mindset that we miss out in the Black community. So, and I hope somebody get that today.
Wow, come on, guys. Can we clap for Mr. Deji? Come on, give it up, give it up, give it up. That's fantastic mindset shift that he's sharing with us. And I think it's something you should look forward to learning on Saturday and Sunday. By the way, the Real Estate Investment Masterclass is a 2-day event. It's starting 2 p.m. daily. And we're going to be looking at 7 different real estate opportunities globally. And I teach globally because I do real estate globally. So in the US, in Dubai, in Africa, in the UK, and I've decided to bring all these friends of mine based here in the UK who do this business here in the UK. And one of the good news I want to share with you guys is I am now willing to partner with people on deals, on UK deals. So you have a commercial, but of course commercial. I mean, again, what we call commercial in the US is called buy to let here in the UK, right? So I'm only interested in buy to let. Okay, but if you have a buy to let deal, and you can come up with your own 25% or 30%, right? And it's a good deal. You know, I'm willing to come with you, and then we share equity together. But I will be sharing the cost of the training on Saturday and Sunday. What I consider a good deal, because what I consider a good deal is not what you consider a good deal, right? So in the course of training, you understand the type of deal I'm interested in. And the good news is I have several different brokers working with us to make sure we get the right financing for any deal you're able to come up with. And I think this is an amazing opportunity for our people. All you need to do, of course, is to register for the training. You can send a DM to me right now that you want to come for the Real Estate Investment Masterclass. I'm willing to offer you a 50% discount if you're paying today. Like I said, it's mainly for my existing real estate mentees who are joining virtually, and a few of them are coming physically. But we're opening it up for just less than 5 seats is left for some of you who are not in that mentorship program, but you want to learn, you want to see what you can do here in the UK and build wealth in the real estate sector. So you don't want to miss it for anything in the world. Send me a DM right now, or you can register. My next question for you is, by the way, why real estate? Why did you decide to go into the real estate sector? I mean, you've been here 17 years, you've done so many work in different sectors. Why real estate for you?
I think, in terms of business sense, it makes a lot of business sense, and I'll come to it. Again, it's a long-term thinking. I am fortunate to work in the financial services before real estate, and contract rates could be 500, 600, depending on what you're doing. It looks fantastic, but when you think about it, you need to be there every day. You need to answer to someone. You're not building a business. You're not building anything. Nobody can replace you. And that's what it is. You're a freelancer, a contractor, and that's what it is. But real estate, I've loved real estate from Nigeria. Been involved in real estate investments from a very young age. I've seen my parents get involved with doing real estate, so it's something I love. But I think if I use a Nigerian analogy, I think when I was growing up, my dad once told me that, and that stuck with me for life. So he built his property in Bagada, and he said it cost him about 200,000 naira then to build a property. But I know well that we had 2 tenants on the bottom, and we had a big 6-bed unit. But one of the tenants was paying over 200,000 per year. So what it cost him to build a whole property in a very short time, somebody was paying him over that amount yearly, and that's just one of the tenants. So that kind of changed my thinking from a very young age. So coming into the UK, I've learned. I love reading, and seen Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you've not read that, my question is, what part of the planet are you? You possibly wouldn't even understand Grant Cardone if you don't understand Rich Dad Poor Dad. But again, that shows the level of your ready to learn. So yeah, so I mean, real estate for me, it's, I mean, sometimes people, you could do it passive depending on what you want to do. So you don't have to be an active person in there. But again, as a mortgage broker, I realized that I get into a lot of relationship and a lot of deals or a lot of things that are not accessible to people, because most people I'm dealing with say, oh, I want to sell a property and stuff. I feel like those are relationships are built out over time. So I'm leveraging on my relationship, even if as a mortgage broker. So that kind of extended to being able to source deal, being able to package deals, being able to sell projects to people, being able to do conversion and stuff. So I think for me, I love learning. I love getting involved with stuff. I've done rent to rent in 2013, even when nobody knows about rent to rent. I've done service accommodation. So again, you'll make mistakes. You will learn by the way. But the long time, the joy you get from this and the leverage you get over time speaks for itself. The people you are in the room with, the discussion you are having is not talking about piecemeal. You're talking about serious things that could affect not just you, that could affect your generation. So I think for me, it's a business, real estate, depending on what level you want to start with. There's so many facets of it, which is a good thing. You can pick one and grow on that. You could be a master in one and you can make a killing from that. So depending on what you want to go for, why real estate is, there's many facets of it. You can be exposed to different things as far as you're ready to learn. Again, Sam Fogo, when I listened, talked about networking. That's something I encourage, but you can go to other people's meeting and just go and learn. Almost every weekend in UK, there is property seminars. And I ask myself every time, how many Black people are in this setting? Some of them it's the early stage, so you might just get it for a discounted price or sometimes free. But even at that, people don't go. So I think it's the education first. Get the education, and you would realize that things will follow up. There are room for a lot of mistakes, and I've made mistakes, but I would say follow would no road, and that way you're not going to get lost yourself. So yeah, real estate is big. It's massive. And when you think about the GDP of UK or any part of the world, you realize that real estate development, real estate sales, real estate things is a big part of the economy. So it's a good thing, I think, depending on which part you feel interested in.
Beautiful. Thank you once again for coming. Can we all celebrate Mr. Deji for coming? Thank you for sharing. By the way, follow him on Instagram. Feel free to send him a DM for those of you who have questions. You're looking for, you want to buy your own property and you're trying to get mortgage, he can fix you up on that. And I can't wait to see you guys on Saturday and Sunday. Send me a DM or visit www.stephenakita.com/RIM London. Okay, the Real Estate Investment Masterclass will look about 7 different business opportunities, and I promise you it's going to be a life-changing opportunity to learn how to build wealth in the real estate sector for yourself and for many, many others. Can't wait to see you on Saturday and Sunday. It's hybrid. You can attend virtually or attend physically. Thank you all. Love you all. I have another. Today is jam-packed. My next IG live is 6 p.m. With Temi, whose birthday is today. Love you all. Bye-bye. Thank you, Mr. Deji. God bless.
Thank you very much. God bless.